Hello, today's reading is from Luke 18. It's the story of the blind beggar. I'm going to read from the Message. Jesus came to the outskirts of Jericho. A blind man was sitting beside the road asking for handouts. When he, the blind man, heard the rustle of the crowd, he asked what was going on. They told him, Jesus the Nazarene is passing by. He yelled, Jesus, Son of David, mercy, have mercy on me. Those ahead of Jesus told the man to shut up, but he only yelled all the louder, Son of David, mercy, have mercy on me. Jesus stopped and ordered him to be brought over. When he had come near, Jesus asked, What do you want from me? He said, Master, I want to see again. Jesus said, Go ahead, see again. Your faith has saved and healed you. The healing was instant. He looked up, seeing, and then followed Jesus, glorifying God. Everyone in the street joined in, shouting praise to God. I love Luke 18. I love the book of Luke. I think that in Luke we see the side of Jesus, the side of God we're reminded of that dwells with the broken. And I think that this story just reiterates it. That part of the Lord's heart that is with the underdog, the poorest of the poor. I think it reveals something about the Lord's authority and the nature of his authority. He's all powerful. He created the universe, and yet he's caring. He uses that authority and that power to reach down and to stoop down to the level of the poor in spirit. In the beginning of this chapter, or earlier in this chapter, we see a contrast between the Pharisee and the tax collector, and it's one of my favourite stories in the Bible, if not my absolute favourite story in the Bible. Jesus talks about the Pharisee who presents himself to God and he says, I've done this and I've done that, and he's haughty. He's proud of where he is and he thinks he should be standing in the right place before God. And then we have the tax man who's a social pariah, basically, scum of the universe in the eyes of that time. And it says the tax man slumped in the shadows, his face in his hands, not daring to look up, says, God, forgive me, a sinner. And what's the link between those two stories? I think there is a link. In the story of the blind beggar, we see Jesus passing by and being stopped in his tracks by this blind beggar who has no place in society. And he shouts out, Jesus, Son of David, mercy, have mercy upon me. And those ahead of Jesus told the man to shut up. But he only yelled all the louder, Son of David, mercy, have mercy on me. You can almost hear how desperate this man is for the mercy of the Lord. And Jesus stopped in his tracks. And he's surrounded by this whole crowd, but he says, that guy, bring him over to me. It seems like that man recognised the lordship of Jesus. He recognised the depths of the difference between himself and the Lord. And he called him over in desperation, knowing that he needed Jesus' help. And whenever Jesus stopped in his tracks and the person the blind beggar came towards him, Jesus asked, "What do you want from me?" What a merciful thing to say. And the blind beggar already knows that he's his master, and he says, "Master, I want to see again." This story reminds me so much of Psalm 51. In Psalm 51, we hear the psalmist say, "Create in me a clean heart, God." Towards the end of the psalm, I would encourage everyone to read it, but towards the end of the psalm, it says in verse 16, 15 and 16, "O Lord, open my lips, and my mouth will declare your praise. For you will not delight in sacrifice, or I would give it. You will not be pleased with a burnt offering. The sacrifices of God are a broken spirit, a broken and contrite heart. O God, you will not despise." And I think that's what we see here in this story. We see a blind beggar who's been cast out, has no value maybe in the world. We don't know exactly what his circumstances are, but how much worse can life get than to be a blind beggar, not able to even get near to Jesus? And Jesus stops in his tracks, and he pays attention to the contrite spirit in that man's heart. And I think we could all learn something about that. Those of us who are in church, who've grown up in church, may we never become like the Pharisee or the people in the crowds who say, "Shush, Jesus doesn't want to deal with you." Because that's not what we learn in the Bible. We learn in the Bible that that's exactly the way that God wants to, that's exactly what God's authority looks like. The Lord dwells with the brokenhearted. And I don't think it's a coincidence that this is on Jesus' journey to the cross. The Lord himself, the creator of the universe, willingly walking towards the cross. I think this story mirrors that in a really beautiful way. His lordship is caring, and his nature is merciful to those who are contrite. I'll leave you with a quote from an Voskamp book that I love called The Broken Way. Anne Voskamp says, "You begin to break your brokenness when you break down with your brokenness, when you hand it over to the one broken for you." And so that is how I see this. That's the challenge of that passage to me. I pray that I'm always close to the way that the blind beggar felt towards Jesus. "Jesus, Son of God, have mercy on me because I'm a sinner." I pray that we'll always be close to the mercy and the costliness of God's grace towards us. I think that's everything. Have a nice week.